Hey guys, what's up, it's iFlynn here, and welcome to my top 10 secondary weapons video for 2018. Now, this isn't like the best weapons in the game list. These are just weapons that I like to use on a regular basis, and they are by no means like the best weapons that are going to be in 2018. These are just weapons that I recommend for players to get going into 2018 because they're pretty good. They're pretty strong in the meta right now. Even though that meta might change because of the damage 2.5 changes that are coming, it's still a video, in my opinion, worth making because, I mean, like, damage and bad guys and players not knowing what to do and recent videos and things like that. Obviously, if things change, then I will make updated videos and you guys will know all about it. But besides the point, let's just get into the top 10 list. We're starting off number 10 with the Static War. Now, again, not the best secondary weapon in the game by any means, and they're not like, oh my god tier damage, but they are pretty fun to use and they're pretty effective. And the reason that they're pretty effective is because they have like more than one like elemental, I guess you could say. So you have radiation, you have corrosive, you have fire damage all in the one build, so you're able to strip away enemies' armor and just kind of eat away at their health pretty quickly, implying you're hitting headshots and stuff like that, and just like, you know, making full use of all the weapons' different features, because you do have a charge attack, as you guys can see, and I just think this is a really fun and cool weapon to kind of play around with. So I'll go ahead and show you guys the build. The Static War, I don't know if you get this from the Energy Lab or if you get it from the market, but check either of those places, and it's just a pretty fun weapon to use. You free-form in it, and pretty effective, at least in my opinion. That was a level 150 heavy gunner right there, so you know, I built it for corrosive, radiation, and heat, and you can swap around all of the different elemental mods and kind of proc which element you think is the most efficient to proc at whatever given time. So, you know, it's really down to you which element you want to be your predominant element with this weapon. But that's my number 10. Moving on to my number 9. This is kind of like a weird pick, and not a lot of people are going to agree with me in this one, but I really like, I don't know whether I call this the Neil or the Nell, and the reason I like this one so much is because I use it versus the Eidolons because it allows me to shoot the Eidolon's weak point and then just kind of put a bunch of sustained DPS onto one of the Eidolon's limbs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to swap around Convulsion, not Convulsion, but 5 rounds in Heat, Heated Charge here, and maybe if I had formed one more time, like through, well, hold on, what am I doing wrong here? If I had formed one more time and threw on a V polarity for my Lethal Torrent, I'd be able to fit on Prime Heated Charge, which would give me more damage. But basically how this weapon works is it has one bullet in the magazine, right? And if you miss that bullet, like if you don't get a headshot with this bullet, you're going to have to reload it. But the catch is, if you do hit a headshot, you have unlimited ammo and a crit multiplier as well, okay? So check this out. We hold this guy still, we can just put a bunch of sustained DPS on this guy's head, and the more we keep on hitting the headshot, then the more we can, you know, just keep on firing at his head, right? And then just keep on dealing constant damage. Now, this pairs very well with the mod called Hydraulic Crosshairs. So instead of maybe using Heated Charge, what you could do is you could go Convulsion, Pathium rounds like so, and go ahead, get Hydraulic Crosshairs. And because you want to be consistently hitting a headshot with this weapon, then it makes sense to have this on. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and play Haro just so I can keep the enemy still, and I can show you the DPS of this weapon just in like ideal circumstances and kind of just why I use it and stuff like that. So we're going to keep this guy completely still. We're going to shoot the weak point on him, being his head, and then we're just going to keep on firing into his head, and, you know, we kill him insanely quickly. We have that unlimited ammo, and that unlimited ammo is going to stay for the duration of this little blue circle that you have here. So once that blue circle's gone, that's when you have to go into your reload, and that's whenever your damage buff is gone too. So keep on hitting your headshots, hit your weak point, and then just keeping that buff up, and then obviously the enemy that you're shooting at, or the Eidolon that you're shooting at, is going to die relatively fast. I think the Neil is, or the Neil, it's an insane weapon, and it actually used to be bugged whenever it first came out. So, you know, there's that. But let's move on. We're going to move on to the Spira Prime. Now, the Spira Prime, they're my favorite throwing secondary weapons, just because they're cool, they're good. Build them for crit, Hornet Strike, Barrel Diffusion, Lethal Torrent, Prime Pistol Gambit, Prime Target Cracker. Of course, you can use the regular versions, Convulsion, Pathium runs for your elemental combo, and then Hydraulic Crosshairs on here, of course, for your consistency or your sustained DPS on the head. So we're going to hold this enemy still again. We had an 86% crit chance base there, so we're expecting to see some orange crits with this. So if we just go ahead and constantly hit the head, there we go. We see those orange hits right there. These aren't the most accurate weapons in the game, and also, like, you know, they're not the most damaging either. Make sure that you're hitting those headshots, because if you're not hitting those headshots, then you're really not dealing like the optimal amount of damage that you could be doing. But also keep in mind, like, these are weapons that I use whenever I'm running through things like, you know, let's say Void Relic runs or something. So I'm usually one-hitting enemies just by hitting body shots, so I don't usually choose my weapons based off who can kill a level 150 heavy gunner fast. It's just more like, okay, does this weapon one hit, and are there a few other things that it can really offer me, right? So that is the Spear Prime. Now we're going to move on to a recent addition into the game, and that being the Leto Prime. Now, these are very good weapons, and the reason I have them on this list is because you don't have to put a lot of effort into making them very good, so they're really ideal for newer players. I only had to throw Freeform on, and I was able to get 103.3% crit chance with a 5.9 times multiplier, very high puncture damage, very high, well, decent status chance, I guess. We also have, you know, okay impact, and we have a very low slash, but that doesn't really matter. If you're using these versus, like, armored units, and you're new to the game, then these things are going to basically just shred, okay? So it's going to give you the most amount of damage that you could possibly ask for versus those armored units. So if you're a new player and you're able to get your hands on the Leto Prime somehow, I definitely recommend picking it up, because they're just very good weapons, and you're about to see why. So I believe the build that we have on is the exact same. I was just after looking at it, but you're going to want to swap Primed Heated Charge out here for your Hydraulic Crosshairs, and then this is going to give you more sustained DPS whenever you're hitting the head. So keep in mind, with all these builds that I'm showing, like, this is ideal circumstances here, so we're hitting them in the head consistently to get the optimal amount of damage as possible out of them. So you can see that we just kind of shred through this guy, and he's just dead. So he's gone. He's done for. So really good set of weapons, and I definitely recommend picking them up. Compare them to some other weapons on this list though, and they're going to really fall short. So that's where we get into the really good territory now. So Twin Gurkatas, these are some of the best dual wield secondaries in the game. Maybe the best in terms of DPS, like, just, you know, dual wielding secondaries. But the reason I don't like them is because they can run out of ammo very fast, and they're very hard to hit all your shots on. So remember, ideal circumstances here, we're hitting him in the head a lot. So you have to hit like all 120 rounds in your magazine to kind of get that insane, crazy DPS out. So, you know, you want to make sure that you're constantly hitting those headshots, and, you know, you're keeping your Hydraulic Crosshairs proc up and stuff like that. And then the Twin Gurkatas are insane, but if you're not able to keep that up, so if you're not playing a CC heavy frame, then I wouldn't really recommend these, but they are very good regardless. They're really good for popping nullifier bubbles, which is another thing that I like about them and why I use them on like a regular basis, because just dealing with those pesky nullifiers is a great thing. But you know, it's really down to the player whether or not they can keep up the constant headshots and stuff like that, which will determine whether or not the Twin Gurkatas are the weapon for you. So moving on from the Twin Gurkatas, we're actually moving on to a weapon that I crafted two of, because there's two different builds for it. The Leto Prime. So my 4-forma build is a crit build, so basically what I've been showing you, and that focuses on the single slug shot that you see. So this is an ult fire, so let's just go ahead and show it here. So this is the slug shot. This is the slug shot build, so it's basically the builds that I've been using earlier. Is your Hydraulic Crosshairs, your crit, Prime Pistol, Gambit, Target Cracker, blah blah blah, and you just basically want to go for headshots and stuff like that, and then get the optimal amount of DPS out of it that way. But the other build is the status build, or a hybrid build, which will basically allow you to strip away enemy armor and then finish them off with like whatever body shots or whatever. So that one is mainly based around, again, optimal scenario where you're able to land consistent headshots on the enemy and take them down, where this here build, config B right here, or not config B, sorry, the other Leto Prime, that is, this is based around stripping away the enemy's armor. So it's all about, well, maybe I got it the other way around, or did I? No, I got it the right way around. So it's based around just, you know, taking away the enemy's armor with Pistol Pestilence, Jolt, and Scorch, and then, you know, laying into him with the other thing. So you can actually potentially, let's see, have I got this formatted right? I do think I have it formatted right. So what you'd do is you would throw on, instead of having, let's see, maybe I've set this up wrong, maybe I haven't, I don't really know. Let's go ahead and try it out again. So we would go for Borrow the Fusion here, we would go for your primed Pistol Gambit, we'd have our primed Target Cracker, and then the rest we would have our dual stat elemental mod, so, you know, Pistol Pestilence, and then we'd throw on our Convulsion. So I had to correct myself there. This is how you get your 100% status on your buckshot. So let's see, we have a status in 95.1, Again, you can throw on other dual stat elemental mods if you so choose. So we can remove Convulsion and throw on Scorch here, and then this way you get a 99.4. Or you could just like straight up maybe throw on like all of the dual stat elemental mods if you really wanted to. They'll have Corrosive and Blast, but this will give you like optimal damage here. So we'd be getting up close to the enemy, and we would be using the Buckshot to strip away his armor, like so. If we can do it. Maybe we can't. Maybe I don't have this completely done. But, you know, it'd just be applying slash procs and stuff like that. So it's more of like a close range sort of like take him down with the Euphona. So it's really just down to how you want to play it. Maybe you could get away with the exact same build on the other Euphona Prime as well. So you'd throw on like your dual stat elementals and stuff with this like sort of forma layout, if that makes any sense. But moving on from the Euphona, we're going to move on to the Aximati. Again, another pair of really good secondaries, which I use on a very consistent basis because they look cool and they just deal a buttload of damage. So it's more or less the same build: hydraulic crosshairs, elemental combo, prime target cracker, pistol gambit. So more or less the same build across all of these secondaries, really. And then we simulate the guy. We go for the headshots like so. Go ahead, chain him up, and then go for nothing but the headshots. And then you'll deal a buttload of damage, and you also strip away his armor because status effects, and he's down. So it's great. It's a great weapon. Definitely recommend picking it up. And you can get those from the Tenno Lab. It's kind of just like the secondary version of the Soma. Moving on to the Pandeiro. Now, this is an interesting weapon because it's not something that people like it, but it takes a lot of work to make it really good. 7 Forma, as you can see, and you want to go ahead and, again, run your Hydraulic Crosshairs build. So we're going to go with Hydraulic Crosshairs instead of Primed Heated Charge, and then this way we're going to get more consistent DPS on the enemy's head, just like I've explained I don't know how many times in this video. Chain him up, like so. Shoot him in the head, and then you can just keep on laying into his head and dealing a buttload of damage. Now keep in mind, this does also have an alt fire to it, which you can use to up your DPS even more, implying you're able to hit all the shots on the enemy's head. So we're going to chain him up like so, and then we're going to use the alt fire, which is going to empty like the entire magazine into the enemy's head, which is, you know, pretty cool, right? We're basically going to be dealing the same amount of damage, but we're going to kill him a lot faster because, you know, we're emptying the entire magazine with the alt fire. So it's versatility that you really get with the Pandeiro, and it just comes down to being a really cool weapon, in my opinion, at least. But here at the number 2 spot, we have the Vacor Marlock, and the Vacor Marlock, one of my favorites because I've been using it for such a long time, and also you get like a what's it called effect, a syndicate effect. So, you know, same build, hydraulic crosshairs, hit those headshots, make sure that you're dealing a buttload of damage. We have a 3.2 times crit multiplier, 57% crit chance. We have a very high status chance at 70.1. It's just a very well-rounded weapon in terms of all the damage types and stuff as well. So, I don't know, this has just been one of my favorite weapons for a long time. Not to mention, you also have that really cool animation. It's got the same animation as Euphona, but I don't know. I just think it works a lot better with the Vacor Marlock. So you're going to see how much, you know, different status effects we're going to be proccing here and how fast these enemies are going to die. So, you know, it's just one of those weapons which is super well-rounded, super versatile, and just gets the job done, really. And you can get it very early from the Steel Meridian Syndicate, which is what I recommend that you're going for as a newer player anyway. But, last but not least, we're moving on to the Leto Prime. If you can get these, go ahead, pick them up, because these are, by far, in my opinion, the best weapons in the list, because they are super well-rounded. You can build them for crit, you can build them for dual status hybrid. You know, you can do anything with these, and these will just shred free enemies. So let's go ahead and build a dual status hybrid. So what we're going to do is Pistol Pestilence, and we're also going to throw on Jolt. And this is going to allow us to strip away enemy's armor, 95.1% status chance, while also dealing very high crit damage numbers. And then, like I said, like if you're going to be playing lower level content, like just, you know, doing your relic runs, you're better off going with the 90% elemental mods. But just for taking down this level 150 enemy right here, just, you know, building like this and stripping away his armor and dealing all these different slash procs and stuff, guy's gonna die in a magazine. So, you know, it's an insane weapon. I 110% recommend picking this up. It's great, and other than that, that's going to be it for this top 10 video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead, hit that like button below. If you want to see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next set of videos, which is going to be the everything you need to know about videos about most of these weapons and warframes that will be coming very soon. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.